Hi everyone, and welcome to Ask Christa. I'm Christa Dhimo, and my show is a free resource to help people get through common day-to-day issues at work. In each episode, I answer a listener question about business challenges and workplace issues, and you know how it helps to like and subscribe, and I thank you for the support. This is episode 75 in season 7, which continues our focus on dealing with bad bosses. Remember, all my episodes offer additional resources too, so check them out in the show notes. Today's episode is about what to do when your manager clearly plays favorites and does so thinking will motivate others to do better, somehow missing the fact that most people don't want to be pinned against each other, much less compared and contrasted at an exhausting rate. Our listener's question also deals with a manager who rotates who his favorite is every few weeks. Here's the listener question. My manager plays favorites and not in a subtle way. For a couple of weeks, I'll be the favorite, and he gives me big compliments on my work, and he openly talks about me in front of my team in a positive way, but also in a she's my favorite this week way. Then suddenly I move to the background again, and for a week he makes no remark about my work at all. Then a week or two later, he'll select someone else on the team to be his favorite and does the same. Praise, extras, recognition. We all talk about it, and it's becoming uncomfortable when it's our weeks for being his favorite because it doesn't feel genuine. It also feels like he's trying to create competition among us, but it doesn't do that. Instead, we make bets on who will be his favorite next. Based on your other episodes, we've already reviewed some policies and have a meeting with our HR business partner next week. What should we do, though? This is such an uncomfortable dynamic, and not just because of the overt way the manager plays favorites, but also because the team makes a joke about it. And I have to say, that's actually a show of how tight and aligned the team is in spite of the manager's questionable style. The most impressive part for me is how the team is talking about it to each other and not giving in to the natural instinct to compete, which seems to be what the manager, or at least the team believes the manager, is trying to do. No one is ever motivated by perceived favoritism. In fact, favoritism, especially this type where it rotates to different team members, has and will always demotivate people because it is, by definition, subjective. Yes, it may feel that or seem that a manager favors a top performer, but if that person is truly a top performer, then typically what you'll see are ways in which the organization continues to recognize and reward a top performer with promotional opportunities, monetary and recognition rewards, and other aspects typically tied with performance. And that's driven by the manager or championed by the manager, but it's evidence-based. There's always a personal feeling associated with how people get their work done, but rewarding and recognizing top performers should be backed by evidence. In many ways, it's never personal, even if the manager feels proud of a top performer or their team receiving such gains after such high performance. But in our listener's case, the manager seems to truly be playing favorites, and that's a terrible idea for so many reasons. First, the manager is fortunate to be having such a strong team in place, but when attention and praise are distributed in a way that feels uneven or unpredictable and subjective, entirely on the whims and fancy of the manager, team members quickly feel less stable in their roles and unsure of their performance, even if they have evidence of how good they're performing at work. Second, the manager is taking a huge hit on his credibility. And when managers lose credibility with their team, trust and respect issues abound. So does employee engagement, or any sense that even an average performance at work will make a difference, much less if someone decides to go above and beyond their role. Again, favoritism is not aligned with performance, it's aligned with feelings and whims. Who can respect that? Now, I will say this. There are some people who genuinely believe that everyone should have a turn receiving praise and recognition, whether they deserve it or not. And as I always say, most people never receive management training. Now, it's not up to you to figure out what's behind the manager's style for rotating who his favorites are, but everyone deserves a little grace and the benefit of the doubt if you truly do not know enough about the situation to know what's behind it. So, how to manage a manager playing favorites? Our listener and the team already made the right choices to stick together and reach out to their resources. I recognize not everyone has that in their environment, so if you're dealing with a manager who plays favorites, take a step back, and as I always say, know your resources. Our listener mentioned policies, and yes, those are resources, likely the ones that focus on equal opportunity employment and fairness in the workplace, if you work in the United States. And there are similar and in some cases better laws in other countries too. What else can you do? For starters, learn from this as you build your own value system and management techniques for your future. We can all use everyday observations as ways to learn about good management and what we never want to do as a manager. Learn about effective motivational techniques for teams, ways to praise and recognize top performers without reducing or diminishing the good, solid performers. And of course, how to manage poor performance to give your employees a chance to improve when needed and if that's a possible path for them. Learning from a bad situation can take the sting out of it, or at least create a more constructive situation for you. Next, and specific to our listener's question, write down the facts associated with the favoritism, the observed behavior, the impact of the behavior, and what you'd like to see instead. This is the BIC method for feedback that I've talked about in a lot of other episodes. The B is for observable behavior, the I is for impact, and the C is for change or continue. In this case, it would look like this. Our manager repeatedly rotates who he plays favorites with. Every few weeks, it's someone new on the team where he'll offer different opportunities, praise their work, and even neglect others on the team. When he does this, he not only loses credibility with us, but also creates an uncomfortable situation where we have to boost each other up just to get through whoever is the favorite for that week. We believe in rewarding and recognizing good work, so we'd like more clarity and consistency in how he does just that, rewards and recognizes good work. It doesn't help anyone if we're perceiving it as him playing favorites versus being on the merits of our work outcomes. In that case, I talked about behavior and described the favoritism. I talked about the impact and what's doing to the team, and then I talked about what you wanted to do instead, the change. And of course, stay connected as a team without going down as a team. And what I mean by that is try to stay above the fray. Resist the urge to invite negativity and bad behaviors to the team, such as talking about your boss to other teams or airing your grievances as complaints without offering what you may need to remedy the situation. Those behaviors might feel better in the moment, but it's not going to fix much longer term. For your resources located in the show notes, the first is a research report from Gallup, partnered with WorkHuman, called The Human-Centered Workplace, Building Organizational Cultures That Thrive. The report includes techniques for recognition, and like all feedback, it's best done in a timely, specific, and performance-aligned way. There are several other resources on the page where you can download the report too. Next is an insightful article from the Niagara Institute called 20 Signs of Favoritism at Work and What You Can Do About It. For a list of 20 things, it's a short read, and I'm offering it more as a means to validate whether you're experiencing favoritism or not. And chances are, if you're wondering, it's because you're experiencing it. Last is an article from Ivy Exec called 5 Non-Confrontational Ways for Dealing with Favoritism at Work. What I like about this article is it focuses on ways to be constructive in such an uncomfortable dynamic, especially if you're the one who's the favorite. We'd all like to think we can address things up front and be direct, but there are a lot of circumstances that require ways for us to manage things with a soft touch, and addressing favoritism is generally one of them. It's often a complicated situation. And that's a wrap for episode 75 from season 7, focused on dealing with bad bosses. Like and subscribe here, but also go to my site and send in your question. It's askchrista.com. That's Christa with a CH. You'll also see answers to other questions listed by category and season. And every season has a theme. As always, thank you for your support. And remember, if you have a business challenge or workplace issue, ask Christa.